Our next guest found herself questioning her own intuition and ended up risking her life by not listening to her body sooner. Just 4 months ago, Netflix's Selling Sunset star Amanza Smith was on the brink of death when a life-threatening infection left her hospitalized and fighting for her life. Today, Amanza is sharing with the Tam Fam how she's fiercely facing that hard road of recovery, and she's sharing her story. Take a look.
Namaste.
To peace in the office. Namaste out of everybody's business.
She's known for selling luxury real estate while also luxury fashion in Netflix's hit reality series, Selling Sunset. But this summer, Amanza made different headlines when she revealed she'd endured a month-long hospital stay and not one, but 2 spinal surgeries to combat a life-threatening bone infection.
No joke. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to heal from my house.
After dismissing the severe backache as stress-related for nearly a month, Amanza would come crashing down as she collapsed at her home in LA with crippling pain. Finally, she sought medical attention in June, undergoing immediate surgery, her doctor later telling her she was just 1 or 2 days away from dying.
It's just been so far brutal. And I'm okay.
Here to share more of her story, please welcome the warrior herself, Amanza Smith. Come on out, Amanza! Oh my God, have a seat. I hugged you gently because I know you're still recovering.
Yeah, I'm pretty tough though. It's titanium in there, so you can hug me tight, girl. It
You're
won't
like
break.
the new iPhone, titanium.
Is it titanium?
Yes, that's what they say.
Perfect.
It
If you lose signal, just hold it close to my spine. I got you.
It's only been, what, 3 months
3 months.
since you left the hospital?
Yeah.
I was listening to that line that the doctor, I have to look at it again because it's hard for me to even sink in. When you were discharged, your doctor told you 1 or 2 more days at home and you could have been dead.
Yeah.
I try to put myself in the situation in rooms and in scenarios that my guests are in. I could barely say it, let
Yeah,
alone think
it
of
was-
a doctor telling. You're a mom.
I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
So it's just me. Yeah, that was, when I was in the hospital, they keep you just informed enough to tell you the procedures, what medication they're putting in your body. And, I was pretty delusional for the most part when I was there. I was heavily sedated a lot of time for pain. So you're just kind of going through the motions. I had no idea how serious it was until I was discharged.
You
and
thought you were
they
going
said that.
in for 1 or 2 days. You ended up saying, what, 31 days?
I thought I was going in for a scan. I went to the emergency room to get like a CAT scan, to get a better look at what was going on. I thought I was going in to get a scan and I was gonna go home. And that was June 2nd, and they admitted me that day, and I was discharged on July 3rd. So I was there for 31 days.
I was telling the audience we've done stories on women, in particular, not listening to our bodies because, and this is not to leave the fellas out. We know that you definitely go through your struggles, but it's a common thread in my 30 years of journalism and doing all kinds of stories with women. We do put ourselves behind our families in particular. So take me back to the early stages of this when you started to feel like something may be off.
So it started out, I was in pain for about a month.
What kind of, how do you describe the pain?
I thought my back had gone out. I was like, I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
I slipped disc, I pulled my back. You always hear somebody pulled their back out. I thought it was that because I'd never experienced that. So that's just what I assumed. So, I waited a couple weeks with this massive pain. I did go to an emergency room one time before I was admitted into the hospital, and they said I was having a back spasm. Mm-hmm. So they gave me, muscle relaxers. I went home, and it got better for like a week and a half. And I was just sort of like, just hoping that it would just immediately, eventually go away completely. I didn't really know what a back spasm, how long that, would go on. So I just sort of waited it out until it got so severe. There was no waiting. There was nothing
I read
could
a
do
quote
except for go to
in
the
an article where you were describing that you were at home. You told People Magazine, our friends at People Magazine, it was back in June, you collapsed in your home.
Yeah. So there was a night where I tried not to let the kids see how severe the pain was because I didn't want to freak them out. You know, we try to just be tough.
And your job is physical. I mean, it's a glamorous, beautiful job on TV, but at the end of the day, you're walking, you're moving, you're on the go, and you are a mom.
Well, we had wrapped, thank God. We had finished filming season 7, so we were on a little hiatus. So all of this stopped, like, I guess, if there's such thing as perfect timing, it was, we weren't filming. But I'd waited all day, like, literally to use the restroom because it was such like, rolling off the couch. I'd come up with these new moves to like kind of push myself.
So it was like agonizing pain.
It was agonizing pain, and I didn't want my kids to see me like that. So they were in bed, and I like kind of army crawled to the bathroom, and on the way back I collapsed in the middle of my kitchen, like between the kitchen and the living room.
So this is the part that's so fascinating. You are literally crawling.
I was walking, but it was not very graceful. It's like a walk, like putting my weight on my knees. And I just collapsed. When I tell you, I couldn't move. My phone was on the sofa, the kids were asleep, and I laid there for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, and I was like, what is this? Like I had no idea how I was gonna get up off the floor. I ended up literally belly crawling to the couch, and then calling my friend who took me in the next day.
You were diagnosed with a bone infection, a life-threatening bone infection. What is it called again?
Yeah. So it started out, it was a bacterial infection throughout my blood. And then it turned to something called osteomyelitis, which is where it attacks the bone. And it was attacking my spine.
What causes it?
It was a bacterial infection through the blood. To this day, they don't know how I got it. I was one of 2 patients at the hospital that had gotten osteomyelitis in the location that I had it. It was very strange where it was on my spine.
It was attacking your lower vertebrae, so that's why the pain.
Mid and lower, yeah.
And that's why you were having the pain. What was the treatment like?
So they immediately started me on intravenous antibiotics and pain medicine. So for 31 days in the hospital, I was getting intravenous antibiotics. I'm still on antibiotics.
And you still may face another surgery, possibly?
Possibly. It depends. I have a bone in my back that they didn't operate on that's very close to breaking because the bacterial infection was sitting on the spine. It was literally eating my spine. So I have a titanium vertebrae. That's
what you were saying.
The Wonder Woman aspect. And then rods and screws through my back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So there was the lower one was the first surgery where they went in and they just sort of excavated out as much of the bacteria as they could. And then less than a week later, we had to do the second surgery because they could see that the antibiotics weren't penetrating the bone and it was literally eating my vertebrae. So when I was admitted, my vertebrae, like if this is my vertebrae, was like this. 2.5 weeks later, it was down to like 1/4.
During your hospital stay, I know that the cast from Selling Sunset came to visit you, which I'm sure meant the world to you.
Yeah.
Having them see you, there they all hanging out. Like I'm sure you're like, wait a minute, is this going to be on air?
My little brothers,
your
my
little brothers,
besties. These guys have been my really close friends for 22 years. Jason and Brett. Jason was there every day. He was like, visiting hours start at 10, and he's like, there at 9:30. He's like, I need to be on the early visitation list. It was close to his house too, by the way. He could just jump, hop,
But
skip,
I
and jump.
love that they were there to support you. But I'm also intrigued. Your kids, Noah is 13 and Breck is 12. You didn't want them to know the severity of things. You FaceTime them only?
I FaceTimed them every day. When I was admitted, they were still in school. So they got out of school like a week after I was in the hospital. And it got so much worse. It just looked way worse
and you didn't want
than it did
them
at
to
home.
see that.
I had, oxygen. I had several IVs. After my surgeries, I had tubes coming out of my back. And I didn't want to freak them out. As long as I'm good, the house is good. As long as Mama's good, everything's good. But they love me so much, and it's just the 3 of us. And anytime I'm stressed or anything, they really, that's when they start to stress. So I just wanted them to see me good, and it just didn't look good in the hospital.
And now you're good.
And now I'm good.